Hello, everyone. I'm Stacy Young, president at Montcalm Community College. Perhaps the best thing I can do all year is this Veterans Day. Every year, I'm humbled and honored that they asked me to do an introduction. I think of my grandfather who served in World War II, and I'm just so thankful to be here today. And I just want to say thank you for virtually attending this annual ceremony. I hope in the future we can do it again in person. As many of you know, on this 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, on Armistice Day, between Germany and the Allied nations came into effect. On November 11th, 1919, Armistice Day was commemorated for the first time. In 1926, Congress officially recognized the end of World War I and declared for an annual observance. This Armistice Day became a national holiday beginning in 1938. It was originally intended to honor World War I vets. In 1954, veteran service organizations urged Congress to change the holiday to Veterans Day, expanding the honor to all former service members wherever and whenever they had served. There was some debate as to when the holiday would be celebrated. Additionally, in 1975, President Gerald R. Ford made November 11th the official day to celebrate, and so from 1978 to the present date, this has become the case. This has been the case. At 11:11 this morning, many of us on campus observed a moment of silence for the fallen, because it's important for us to remember those who have sacrificed their lives for this country. To all of the veterans in the community who are watching this presentation, we say thank you for your service. To the women and men who currently are serving, we appreciate what you are doing for our nation, and we thank you. At this time, I believe we'll have Gary Hauck recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hi, my name is Gary Hauck, and I had the honor of serving as a U.S. Army chaplain in the reserves for 13 years. A variety of posts here stateside and also in South Korea and Honduras. The pledge to our flag is actually a commitment of loyalty to our country and to its values. And so I invite you now to join with me as we pledge together our allegiance to our country and our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
In honor of Montcalm Community College's veterans, we will be reading a roll call list. Amber Jade Rain will perform the roll call, which consists of MCC's employees, retirees, and all of our emeriti.
Jason Barnes, Larry Beard, Amy Koffel, Christopher DeGree, David DeBose, Jim Facca, Gary Hauck, Kim Holt, Amber Jade Rain, Claude Johnson, Randy Kempf, Lou Kitchenmaster, Betty Jane Liu, Kathy Lofts, Ted Matusik, Les Morford, Rhonda Myers, Jim Peacock, Douglas Rhinesmith, Jay Smith, Rob Spoor, and Jenna Wan. Happy Veterans Day.
I do want to take a moment to thank our team of people who've put together today. It's just really quite amazing, and they are so passionate, and it's just very inspirational to me. So next I have the honor to introduce our guest speaker for today, Jennifer Foxworthy. Jennifer's bio, when I met her, I couldn't believe how young she is because she's done so many amazing things. But Jennifer travels around the country using her life experiences boldly, authentically, and transparently, speaking on topics of corporate leadership, self-esteem, domestic violence, awareness, overcoming adversity, self-care, and much more. Jennifer is a retired Navy combat veteran, distinguished Toastmaster and award-winning inspirational influencer, internationally published author, public speaking coach, as well as an anti-domestic violence activist and victims advocate. After serving our country proudly for more than 21 years, Jennifer pursued a second career as an entrepreneur, and in 2013 started her first business, Inspirationally Speaking LLC, where she inspires, motivates, and empowers thousands of people around the country to make changes in their life so that they can walk boldly in their purpose. And Jennifer's passion and knowledge of leadership, work-life balance, team building, and diversity in corporate America has motivated her to help change business practices around the country. Jennifer also aims to encourage individuals to have a get fit meaning focused and intentional and thriving mindset so that they can ultimately find their personal peace, purpose, and power. Again, she's written a book, Tomorrow My Sunshine Will Come, Memoirs of Women Who Survived Domestic Violence. She's also a blogger and founder and CEO of Unstoppable You Ministries, where she is proficient event organizer and host of Unstoppable You Conference, as well as host for Living Unshackled on Purpose Television. Like I said, you can't believe that she has done all of these things in her life. She's living proof that dreams, passions, and goals are obtainable if you trust in God, surround yourself with positive people, and put one foot in front of another. Jennifer, if you were here in person, we would give you a huge round of applause. We are so excited to have you here today. Thank you.
Yay! Gotta bring out the pom-poms. The small stereotypical boxes that people shove us in.
This uniform signifies so much. It signifies opportunity, it signifies sacrifice, it signifies success, but it also signifies adversity.
The two biggest questions that I get when people are curious of how does someone get into a domestic violence relationship and why do they stay? I understand why they say that, but it's not like the abuser has a big blinking neon sign over their forehead that says, I just whipped up on my last 5 girlfriends. You're going to be number 6. How about that date? Do you want to go see Sleeping with the Enemy? It doesn't work that way. There is a horrible epidemic, domestic violence, nobody wants to talk about, and it comes in many forms. Physical, and that's what I always figured that it was just physical. But it comes in economical, sexual, mental, emotional, verbal. And I experienced many of those. I know when I was growing up and I would watch those dysfunctional talk shows like Ricky Lake and Jerry Springer, and they're fighting and everything, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, girl, don't let him put his hands on you. And lo and behold, I found myself part of those statistics. I found myself as that girl. For someone who confessed that they loved you to look you in the eye and say, damn, you're ugly. Look at your crooked teeth. Everything that I felt uncomfortable about my outer appearance, he picked on. It happened so gradually. I know with me, it started with him ridiculing my friends, the isolation. But the first physical altercation, when I explained to him I could possibly be pregnant, he hauled off and punched me in my stomach. I gasped for air. I ran up the stairs. I told him to get out. But then I chased him down the street because being inquisitive women, we want to know, why did you do what you just did? Greatness unbounded, moving beyond ordinary. That's what we are, that's what we do when we overcome adversity.
I had a swim instructor tell me that as a Black woman, my body type wouldn't allow me to do the swimming evolutions or the swim strokes like my classmates. And I couldn't understand, he is in the military, he's in the Navy. Are you kidding me? So I used his words as my fuel. Because ladies, you tell us that we can't, we will show you that we will and that we did.
Because that lead goose goes to the back, he's still honking. Honk, honk, keep going. You can do it. Watch out for that airplane. Watch out for that mountain. Oh my goodness. Honk, honk. Effective communication. Because when you're in the back, you can see things that the geese or your people, they can't see in the front.
There is a difference between a survivor and a thriver. I consider myself a domestic violence thriver. A survivor, they physically can get out of the relationship but still be held captive mentally and emotionally. A thriver will find purpose from the pain and move forward. And that's what I've done. I acknowledged what I was in. I've restored my broken soul, and I've even forgiven. Those are the 3 keys to healing that I discovered, and that's what I share with others. The keys to healing: acknowledging, restoring, forgiving.
Is it my turn? I'm good?
You're good?
Yay! My goodness, y'all make MCC in the house. Y'all make me feel like a rock star. Oh my goodness. Yes. Happy Veterans Day, everyone. And I am so humbled and honored to be the virtual keynote speaker for MCC. I don't take this lightly whatsoever. Thank you so much, Miss Stacy, Amber, Kevin, Josiah, the whole MCC team for acknowledging veterans and hosting something annually to recognize our efforts. What a privilege. Oh my goodness. I feel so speechless, but I can't be speechless because I do have a message that I want you all to hear. Before I get started, I know that many of you are thinking, okay, Jennifer Foxworthy, where have I heard that name before? And I'm sure many of you are have heard of the Jeff Foxworthy, the redneck comedian. And no, I am not related to him, but I wish, because I think he's absolutely funny. Now, what is interesting, he actually has a sister named Jennifer. So I've thought about going to the family reunions to see if he would be able to tell a difference. I don't know, what do you think? But again, I am so honored to be here. The title of my presentation is Let's Get Fit, the power of we. And as you have seen in the sizzle reel, the highlight reel, and the bio that Miss Stacy read, I have been able to accomplish a lot within a small period of time. A lot of ups and downs, like we all have, much adversity, dealing with domestic violence, but through it all, I have built that resilience, and I want to be able to share those steps of having a get fit mindset that I have been able to develop. What does that look like? because to me, when I have a get fit mindset and you have a get fit mindset, there is nothing that we can't do. I want everybody to win. So get fit. Us military folks, we make an acronym out of everything. My blog is Gumbo, Gumbo, and I made an acronym out of that, which is Greatness Unbounded, Moving Beyond Ordinary. So my brand and my motto is nothing different. Fit. That's focused, intentional, and thriving. I truly believe that in this presentation, I'll go over the steps of what a Get Fit mindset looks like. How do you even get started? And then I'll share a little bit about my story of how I used it. And then I'm going to wrap it up with MCC. What's in it for you? Why should you care? And I'm going to go over that mission, the vision, and the values. I truly believe the benefits to being focused, intentional, and thriving, it has to do with identifying internal and external barriers. And that only comes through self-reflection and self-awareness. There's tools out there to help you do this and implement strategies to get fit. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you on that journey of what does that look like and how you can obtain a get fit mindset. And I promise you, you will be able to implement those strategies in your everyday life. So fit is the root word for fitness. And it means to get in shape, to be physically healthy. But we cannot neglect getting fit mentally, emotionally, financially, professionally. Another definition, according to Merriam-Webster, the dictionary, for the word fit is to put into a suitable state, made ready. If we fail to have a fit mindset, we will struggle to be in a suitable state of mind to handle adversity, to be present, to be decisive, to be fulfilled, have integrity, and above all, walk boldly in your purpose. I truly believe that 2020, and it seems like it was a gajillion years ago, but just last year, I believe that 2020 was the year of vision. Many of us experienced a lot of adversity. Hopefully, while dealing with the obstacles and speed bumps of life, you gained some clarity. Whether pleasant or unpleasant, it's still an opportunity for you to grow. In 2021, I believe that it's the year of maturity. This year gives us an opportunity to take what we gained, that clarity about what we gained the clarity about in 2020, and now implement the strategies to take things to the next level. And that's what I just hope for you. Let's take it to the next level. Let's have that get fit mindset. We are not meant to be ordinary. We are meant to be extraordinary and have an amazing destiny. I want to tell you the driving force behind having a get fit mindset, because many people are like, well, I don't know where to start, or what does it look like? It looks like when you are sick and tired of being sick and tired of having unfulfilled goals. When you know there's more to life, but feel stuck, stagnant, and stifled. That's when you know that you are at a pivotal point where you have to make adjustments. So first, in order to make those adjustments successfully, you must be disciplined, have a level of maturity, and self-control. So let's start with focus. Recognize your potential. Believe in self and put a plan in place, setting goals. So I'll share this with you. When I was going through Naval Air Crew School, there was many swimming evolutions. And one was where I had to swim a mile in this pool within 70 minutes. And they threw all of me and my classmates, we all went at it. We dove in and we couldn't touch the bottom of the pool. We had to continuously keep swimming, going from wall to wall, back and forth. I never realized that you could sweat in a pool, but I learned that day. And there was a lot of thrashing around and it was very intimidating. Needless to say, I didn't finish like all of my classmates in that 70-minute allotted time. So I got put on remedial. And I knew in my mind, I worked too hard to get to this point. And that there were so many eyes on me. Because during this time, I was the only African American female going through this program, this school. And they had a class that started every week, every Monday. And I looked to the left and I looked to the right. And it was me. And so in my mind, I didn't want to let myself down. I didn't want to let my classmates down. I didn't want to let my country down because this is what I wanted to do. So during this schooling, we stayed at a hotel and it had a pool outside. And every chance I had, I was in that pool swimming. And I would have my friends keep the time and show me how to do the strokes well, with precision. And I found out and realized that my strongest stroke was the side kick. As women, we have these strong thighs, these legs, and we can use it to our advantage. See, I was focused on the goal of completing, of passing. I put a plan in place to practice every chance I got, every day. Because failing was not an option. And if I didn't make it, at least I can say I tried and I put my best effort forward. I was intentional about my time. And the thriving part came to when it was time for me to test again. I swam that mile in 68 minutes, all in the side stroke. What an accomplishment. I was focused, I was intentional, and thriving. And just like you heard in the sizzle reel, I had swim instructors right in the Navy tell me that I couldn't accomplish something because as a Black woman, my body type wouldn't allow me. I refused to let anybody shove me in a small box of stereotypes. So I don't know about you, but I just want to encourage you and hopefully inspire you to not settle. That there is something in you. There is a purpose for you. And I just hope that you hold on to the words that I'm sharing with you today. Identify those barriers. What's keeping you from being focused? What's keeping you from being intentional? What's keeping you from thriving? So to back up, intentional. Intentional is about understanding your vision, having the ability to see past your current reality. That means prepare and have the motivation to change by developing a strategy. And that's what I did by sharing you with that story. And then thriving is the sweat equity, putting in the hard work, ready to execute in action. See, I did put in that sweat equity by working out every day, staying fit, physically, mentally, emotionally, staying focused. When my other friends wanted to go out or have a drink or whatever it was, no, I was determined to be in that pool and practice. The ultimate goal of having a fit mindset is to have personal peace, purpose, and power. And that looks different for everyone. What gives you peace may not always be my priority of having peace. So when we are focused, intentional, and thriving, and we are walking boldly in our purpose, and we can see beyond our current reality, and we know what we want to do and how we want to do it, we don't settle. And when you don't settle, you will eventually have that peace, purpose, and power. So where do we start? Building resiliency. And there's many tests out there to see where you're at with your resiliency. Or you can even ask your closest friends, your family, what do they think of your level of resiliency? How do you handle setbacks, those speed bumps, adversity? What gets in the way of having a get fit mindset is excuses, being comfortable, being distracted, having a lack of boundaries, a lack of resilience, no one to trust, or having the lack of confidentiality, lack of resources, or support systems. And that all comes with then being bitter, unforgiving, with unprocessed hurt. That's what gets in the way of having a fit mindset. So some of the strategies, self-awareness. This is one of the main things to having a get fit mindset. It's like peeling back the onion to discover what's inside. The only way to discover what's inside is taking a moment, being still. Have a list. What are your needs? What skill sets do you have? What are your personal interests? What values? What do you value? What do you hold dear to yourself? And then what are your hopes and your dreams? The next strategy is self-care, and so important. This is about your health. This is a foundation. So there's 7 areas. So intellectually, seek coaching or mentoring. Learn something new. Seek helpful and positive networking groups. That's how you can succeed intellectually with having a get fit mindset. Spirituality. Meditate, pray, watch sunsets, forgive, practice humility. Environmentally. Enjoy nature. Volunteer to help repair things destroyed by weather or pick up trash in parks. Keep things decluttered and organized. It's hard to stay focused if you're living in a world of clutter, personally, professionally, in your community. Physical well-being. Take time for walks, exercise, ensure you're eating right, ask for nurturing. Socially and culturally. Foster friendships, find support groups to help cope with adversity. Spend time with your family And when you're dealing with social media, it's okay to unblock people. It's okay. It's setting boundaries. Or even if you're feeling unfollowing, unfollow people. You do what is best for you for your sanity, your mindset. Then we think of emotionally and mentally. Do you tell yourself that you love yourself? Do you look in the mirror and say, you know what, Jennifer? I know for me, that's what I had to do. Especially coming on the backside of an abusive relationship. I had to give myself affirmations. Jennifer, you are beautiful. Jennifer, you are worthy. Jennifer, you are unstoppable and amazing. Because I was torn down for so long in those poor relationships. Do you laugh? Do you cry? Do you seek therapy, counseling, read self-help books? And then occupational and financial well-being. Plan for the future. Get out of debt. Seek professional development opportunities. All of those things are critical to having a get fit mindset. So when you look at a wheel with the spokes, a wheel, those spokes are meant to keep the shape of the wheel and hold the balance of the rider. If any of those spokes are missing, it then puts tension and stress on the rest of the areas. You'll find that it's impossible to be financially fit, but you are lacking in social awareness, spirituality, and your physical health. One bleeds into the other. Again, building resilience. What is your purpose, your vision, your goal? Giving up is not an option. You must understand what your why is. Your why should give you goosebumps. Mindfulness. Anticipate and plan. It's all about your composure during tough times. The ability to identify your feelings, your thoughts, and your behaviors. Have a gratitude list. That has been critical for me. Grateful for my relationships, grateful for where I am today, grateful for this opportunity that I am able to speak to you and pour into you. And then healthy boundaries. MCC. It coincides with your mission, your vision, and values. And this is the power of we. Your mission, transforming lives through quality education. You're receiving that quality education. Are you focused on the good grades? And if you're not understanding something, are you reaching out to your instructors to get that extra opportunity to learn more? Asking your instructors, hey, can you break it down in another way? How focused are you on that degree? You're putting in the time, you're putting in the sweat equity. Education is paramount. It's the great equalizer. I should know because I have 4 college degrees. I have an associate's in business administration. I have a bachelor's in communications. My first master's is in management with a focus in public relations. And I graduated last year in 2020 with my master's in social work. So when someone tells me I can't do something, I'm going to show you that I can, I will, and I did. See, I joined the military right after high school because I didn't have the financial means like the rest of my classmates. And I wanted to earn my way through life. My parents, they did their job for 18 years. Now I can say that young girl growing up in poverty in the city, who didn't take any excuses, who moved all barriers out the way, has 4 college degrees. I have 2 businesses, a nonprofit and a for-profit. I have literally driven around the United States. I've been to 49 out of the 50 states. The only state that I haven't been to is North Dakota, and it's outside of the beaten path of when you're going across 70 from the East Coast to the West Coast. I've been to over 27 different countries, and I proudly serve my country. I am a patriot for 21.7 years, even with all the adversity I experienced. I can, I will, I did. I developed that get fit mindset. I was focused, I was intentional, and I was thriving, and I'm still thriving. And like Miss Stacy said, you know, here I am, 48 years old, and I feel like I know I have accomplished a lot. I have done more in my lifetime than many people who have, or in those 48 years. Than many people in their lifetime. I don't take anything for granted. I don't use my skin color or my gender as a crutch. And that is the power of we. We have to hold each other accountable. I didn't expect to cry. When we stand united, there is nothing that we can't do. MCC strong. When you are focused in your home, focused in your schoolwork, your education, then focused in your community, we create ripples. And it's through our testimony that we encourage others to be unstoppable. And we share our strategies of having a fit mindset. MCC values student success, empowerment. That's why you all host these type of events. And again, I'm so humbled and honored to be able to speak to you all here today. The relationships you have now should last a lifetime, or you at least should learn something from every relationship, good or bad. Community, and then excellence. I want to wrap up with this. The greatest impact. What makes the greatest impact? This big old rock or this small pebble? This will encourage you the power of we and why it's so important, why we must have a focused, intentional, and thriving mindset. Looking at these two, you would think physically the rock, this heavy rock, makes the greatest impact. But if you throw this rock into a pond, it sinks straight down. But if you throw this pebble, this small pebble, into a pond, it creates ripples. See, this rock, if you think of it as all the things like low self-esteem, stress, unprocessed hurt and trauma, pride, ego, division, it's heavy, it weighs us down, and we can't go anywhere. But when we lighten our load and we become focused, intentional, and thriving, we're light as this pebble. And that's how we make the ripples. It starts with us. Be the pebble. So I want to encourage you as I wrap up. Remain focused, remain intentional, and be thriving. Identify your barriers, internal and external. Seek help. I am here for you. I'm a tool in your toolbox. My name is Jennifer Foxworthy, and I salute you.
Thank you, Jennifer. We do have one question on the question intake right now, and at this time, if you do have questions, feel free to either post them to the Facebook Live if you're watching from there, or also here in the Teams Live event in the Q&A area. But the first question is, what would you suggest as a first step to start emotionally healing after a domestic abuse situation?
That's a great question, and for me, my journey, it was a 3-phase cycle. I have a quote that denial feeds dysfunction. So many times people struggle to heal and move forward because they don't want to acknowledge what they experience. So acknowledging is the first part. Acknowledge what you've been through. Don't sugarcoat it. You know, yes, I experienced physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, economic abuse, financial, you name it. So acknowledging. Then the next step is restoring your broken soul. For me, for 5.5 years, and then multiple poor relationships even before that, and the low self-esteem, I had to restore my broken soul, and that came with the affirmations. And looking into the mirror every day and saying, Jennifer, you are beautiful. So you will have to, whoever's asking that question, speak life into yourself. You may not have everyone in your corner or who will understand and who will uplift you and speak that life into you. So it has to start with you. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Do you want more for yourself? And then the last phase was forgiveness. I had to put it in my mind and my heart to forgive myself because I experienced mine. Mine was service member on service member. I experienced mine when I was serving active duty in the Navy. And I couldn't, here I am serving combat missions in 3 different wars, and I'm like G.I. Jane, but how in the world did I find myself in this abusive relationship? And why did I stay so long? And then eventually, I forgave my abuser, my ex-boyfriend. And I didn't reach out to him and say, hey, guess what? It's your lucky day, and shake his hand. You know, I'm going to forgive you today. No, I had to put it in my mind and my heart to do so. And when I did, it was like a weight of the world that lifted off of my shoulders. Because up until then, I was holding resentment. And I was on social media trying to figure if he was fat and if he was bloated and if he was miserable. Even after I had moved on and went into the relationship I am now with my husband, Nelson Mandela has this quote. He says that resentment is like drinking poison and hoping it kills your enemy. I had finally got to the point that I'm not even with this guy and I'm still giving him my time and hoping that he's miserable. I got tired of drinking the poison. So if I could encourage you with anything, it's acknowledge what you've been through, restore your broken soul by affirmations, meditation, journaling, therapy, and then ultimately forgiving self and forgiving others. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you. A couple other questions rolled in. The
Nice.
first is, do you still sometimes lose your bearings, or do you feel like you are usually steady now?
Absolutely. For the most part, I feel steady, but there are times where I feel like I'm tested, or people will try to drive you, work that last nerve. And that's when it's necessary to have a good group of people in your corner to help say, wait a minute, that person is being a distraction. You have a bigger purpose, or you have an event coming up, you need to stay focused. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? You're right. You have to step out and see things for what they are. I wrote a blog called Who's in Your Boat? And I'll briefly share this. And I truly believe that there are 3 types of people in your boat: the rower, the sleeper, and the driller. You want people who are rowing in your boat, who are going in the same direction as you, who are able to look out for you and say, okay, let's steer, to the left, let's steer to the right.
watch out for that rock that's coming up. You need rowers that will recommend you to institutions like MCC and say, hey, I have an amazing speaker that would be wonderful for your program. Those are the rowers. Then you got sleepers. Sleepers are the ones that are sleeping on their purpose. They're sleeping on your purpose, and they're snoring because they're sleeping so much it becomes a distraction. Therefore, it knocks you out of your focus. You got to get rid of the sleepers. And then you got the drillers. The drillers are the ones that they say they're rowing in your boat, but they're steadily with a drill drilling a hole in your boat to sink it. And as there is sinking, they jump out and they got this serpent tongue behind their pearly white teeth smiling at you saying bye. And they're the ones that gossip and talk about you and have so much envy. But then I want to encourage you that when you look over at the reflection of the water, when you look over that boat and you see your reflection in the water, ask yourself, which one are you? Are you the rower? Are you the sleeper? Are you the driller? And the driller is that, if you are honest with yourself, it's like self-sabotage. The sleeper is the person who is so comfortable, they don't want to walk boldly in their purpose. So that's how we do it. It's by having a great core group of people rowing in your boat.
That's an excellent analogy. I love it, with the self-reflection as well. So the last question that I see here is, what is your advice to those that have a hard time creating a gratitude list?
The best advice that's a person who's going through some struggles, and no matter if it's sun shining, a clear blue day, they're struggling to see that. It will take time, but even in the midst of adversity, you can always find something to be grateful for. Just to be able to breathe, that you're not in a hospital bed, that you're not 6 feet under, because there are so many people who didn't wake up today. There are people who are struggling for their life on ventilators in ICU. There are people who have lost their eyesight, but hey, you're here, you're able to watch this virtual presentation. Even if it's just being grateful your car runs, or grateful that you have food to eat, because my nonprofit, we help those who struggle, who are affected by domestic violence, human trafficking, and homelessness. So I know people and have helped people who live in the woods, who don't know where their next meal will be. So if you are struggling with creating a gratitude list, I can definitely share with you some stories that can help you say, you know what, I need to back up a little bit, because I'm not sleeping in the woods. I am safe. I actually, I have a comfortable bed. I'm not being abused and beat on. I don't have someone pulling a gun out on me and trafficking me up and down the corridor of I-95 or across I-70. So I can tell you stories that will definitely change your mindset to be grateful. And that's actually how I snap out of my pity party. It's okay for a moment, but when it starts to linger, and then that's when depression sets in, and then you isolate yourself. And the enemy wants you to isolate yourself. So you're no longer a power of we. So that's what I would do, is read stories and videos and learn about people who may have it a little bit rougher than you.
Thank you. And it looks like we have time for one more question. And this one asks, there are a lot of available jobs right now. What would you say to students who have put their current job ahead of their pursuit of their degree here at MCC?
Read that one more time so I can comprehend, so I can answer appropriately.
Yep. So basically anybody can get a job right now. There's a lot of
Right.
jobs available. What would you say to students who have put their current job ahead of their pursuit of a degree here at MCC?
Okay, so they put their education on hold
Yes,
in order to
that's
pursue
how I read
a
it.
job. I would ask them, are they fulfilled? Are they making an impact at that job? Or do they feel like gerbils in a cage or a rat trying to find their cheese? That's the main question. Or that's how I would answer. Do they feel fulfilled? And if they feel fulfilled, then by all means, keep working that job and making a difference. But if they feel like something is missing, then I would then say find a way to incorporate that education that MCC can give, that quality education. It's about that why. That why gives us purpose. It gives us goosebumps. It puts a smile on our face when we wake up in the morning. So does the job do that? Or do you feel like you're missing something and want to turn to that education? So yeah, there's a lot of jobs out there, but there's only one MC college education, that degree that's calling you, that can take you to the next level.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. I got a lot from your presentation. I was taking notes. I love your Get Fit mindset and your story about the pool. It is very inspirational. I can see why you've been able to really connect with people around the country. I'm a big goal setter, so I really connected with what you were saying. And I loved your quote about education being the great equalizer, and I also believe that. So thank you so much. We are really grateful again for you and your time today. And I say happy Veterans Day to all of you out there who are celebrating with us today. I am always so grateful. And to the people who have let their babies go off and serve for our country, I don't want to miss out on you, because I know that there are so many sleepless nights and lots of worries and prayers that go with that as well. So for all of the families and friends that watch their friends go off and serve our country, for all of us, we thank you as well. Have a great day, everyone. I think that's the end of our presentation today. And again, thank you so much, Jennifer. We really enjoyed your speech.